32 members in 9 states. And the municipal electric system, like Jackson Municipal Electric, is not-for-profit. It's owned and operated by the communities that we serve. As a part of this effort, in order to create further awareness of the benefits of public power and many career opportunities in municipal electric field, AMP has established the scholarship program. Tonight, I'm here to honor Abigail, or AKA Abby, Plants, with the Richard H. Gorsuch Scholarship. This is one of 2 awards that we have for the AMP Scholarship Program. The other is the Wright Scholarship. In this case, the Gorsuch Scholarship, it's up to 5 one-time scholarships of $3,000 presented annually, including the 2024 scholarships of this year. AMP has awarded nearly $500,000 since 1988. The scholarship is named in memory of Richard H. Gorsuch, who was the president of AMP from 1983 until his death in 1987. The scholarship is awarded to a graduating high school senior. Scholarship is available to students whose parent or guardian is an employee of AMP or an AMP member. If the parent or guardian is an employee of the AMP member, the parent or guardian must work directly for or provide management leadership of the electric utility department or the Joint Action Agency. This year, 18 students were nominated for the Gorsuch Scholarship. Finalists took a test about public power. AMP Board of Trustees approved 5 recipients based on their scholastic record, personal achievements, and public power test scores. We're pleased that the strong municipal like Jackson is home to one of these scholarships. And by the way, it was like 2 years ago, I think, I was here for Tom Waltz's daughter. So congratulations, Jackson. You're producing a lot of these fine graduate students. Tonight, I'm here to talk a little bit about Abigail, a.k.a. Abby. She is the daughter of Matt and Tracy Plants. Tracy is the Executive Assistant and Projects Coordinator for the City of Jackson. Abby is the graduate of Jackson High School. She is planning to attend Yale University to study architecture. Abby is extremely involved in school and community activities, and these are some of her highlights. She's an active member of the National Honor Society. She participated in the Ohio Youth in Government, Student Council, and Youth Leadership Association. She is an active member of the band and in the drama club. She has volunteered for many activities and programs throughout her community, including the First Baptist Church of Jackson, Leah's Interactive Club, and Jackson City Library Board. We find Abigail to be a talented student with a promising future. I'm pleased on behalf of the AMP Board of Trustees to congratulate Abigail on receiving the AMP Scholarship. Congratulations and best of luck.
Parents, what do you think? Who's just going to be here? We're repeat that. How do you nominate me, right? Do you nominate me? Yeah. You're always excellent. That's when you're already talking. Okay, 1, 3, go. Let's go. 1 more time. Straight on. Yeah, pretty screen. Congratulations. We want to come up with one. That's superintendent and principal. Do you guys want to come up with a picture? Go on.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Folks, this way on 3, 1. Thank you very much. Oh, wait, and just to help mark the occasion, on behalf of the city, citation for Abigail for receiving this scholarship. And it reads very quickly, your scholastic record, personal achievements, and test scores demonstrate your commitment to education and excellence. American Municipal Power Board of Trustees has honored your achievements previous prestigious award. May you continue to embrace the challenges and opportunities you encounter with enthusiasm and resolve. Once again, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
You'll shake hands with the council. Congrats. Congratulations. Congratulations. Thank you. Said for your choice.
Congratulations. Thank you. Congratulations. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations again.
I've asked Abby to take the mic there and just, if she has some things she'd like to say. Absolutely. Appreciate her, so go right ahead.
Thank you so much to AMP for giving me this opportunity. I learned a lot about public power through AMP at large and through the City of Jackson through the application process for this scholarship. Even in the short time that my family has lived in Jackson, I really enjoyed it. As you can see, I'm very involved in my community, so I was very glad to win this scholarship because it's representative of Jackson as a community, which I've kind of gotten to see through my mom's job here with the city. So thank you very much to AMP and the City of Jackson.
Thank you. Congratulations. More, go ahead. Go ahead. You have more.
We have more.
Go ahead.
We have more. I'm going to ask Ashley Aldridge to come forward now, who is the recreation director / pool manager. She has some of our new employees at the pool to introduce here to the council tonight.
Hi, guys, if you want to come up and just stand. So we have a couple with us tonight. Obviously, this is going into the end of the school year, so we're happy that these ones can make it. But with us tonight are new lifeguards, Nevaeh Newton, Malachi Linton Wiseman, and Keegan Hammond, and then our concessions person, Grace Plants. So we are happy, and these are just a few of the 20 lifeguards that we have on staff for the summer. Pool opens officially on May 25th, so hopefully we get some hot days, get the pool warmed up, and you guys can enjoy that once we get here.
Thank you, guys, and welcome to the city of Portland. And we have a few other new full-time employees. We have two new skilled laborers here tonight that will actually work in our services department in our street and alley division. Dylan Crabtree, if you'll come forward. Dylan has already started work. In fact, I saw him out, he's getting broken in and trained on the garbage truck today. So, Dylan, anything you'd like to say to council?
Just thank you for the opportunity to work here in the city.
And then we have Andrew Kincaid, if you'll come forward, also in the same department. And he began, I don't know, a week or so ago. Andrew?
Yes, sir.
Anything you'd like to say to council?
I just want to thank each and every one of you. Thank you for the opportunity.
We have a third one, Tyler Hickman, but he wasn't able to make it here tonight. But he started a couple weeks ago. Now we have a new patrolman with the City of Jackson, Blair Strange. Would you like to come forward?
Hello.
Blair comes to, Chief, would you like to introduce him? You go right ahead, Jack. Sure. Well, this is going to get lengthy, guy.
So Blair actually worked for us at the Jackson Police Department back in 2015. He was hired as a dispatcher, and he was a road certified officer. He joined our auxiliary department then, and so he got some experience there. He left in 2019, as I recall, 2019 for an opportunity at a road position in Chillicothe. So he's been on Chillicothe PD for about 5.5 years. Gotten some really good experience. They like him very much up there, but I think Blair really, about a year ago, started saying, you know, my family's here. I was raised here as a 2011 graduate of Jackson High School. He's been a friend of mine and a friend of many people who still work at the police department, so we've always stayed in good communication, but he said, I'd love the opportunity, if the opportunity arises, I'd like to come back. And so an opportunity arose. He had taken the NTM test through our civil service process, and it was a shoo-in. We're excited to have him. We're excited at some of the experience that he got at Chillicothe PD as we kind of watch trends go from Columbus south and stop in towns like that. He's from here. He understands our system. He understands how we do things here and what goals we're here to achieve and what we're not willing to surrender that some agencies have. I think some of that experience will help us make some decisions in the next 18 months. He's had experience with body cams as we introduce that program. So we're very excited for him to be here and be a part of this, and I think just kind of coming from his words, that he wants to police in the community in which he lives, resides. He has family and church family that a lot of those a lot of the members of that church, also attend here, and so it's really good to have somebody with his experience, his demeanor. He was sworn in, actually May 2nd. I have a picture of that. This looks like somebody put a copy of it on my magazine. But it's a former model, so I'm going to get that to the mayor. He has to have that. I don't know who put that in, but yeah, he was sworn in the mayor's office. That is right. So, we are glad to have him, and as you can see, he's very, very welcome here.
I think what the chief forgot to say was he got sworn in and less than 2 hours later, we had pictures of him putting cuffs on an individual. Yeah, about a little Chillicothe down here, I guess. Yeah, so, I had a whole slew of things I wanted to say, but my mind just went completely blank. No, Chief Finch basically covered everything. I wanted to appreciate everything you guys have done, appreciate the opportunity. Thank you to Chief Finch. He's kept in contact with me basically the entire 6 years I've been away at Chillicothe. So, when an opportunity presented itself, I jumped on it. Like Chief said, it's just something special about protecting and serving the community that you live in. So I'm excited to do that, and I thank you again for the opportunity.
Great, thank you.
Do you want to get a picture of this? Yeah, let's do that. Your face is red, so you're okay. Okay, three. Can we get one of our other boys here too, Pete? Come on out, guys. Come on. How about, no, there. All the new boys, come on, kids. Come on. Have you had kids? Yes. Okay, nobody hides. Blair, you good? Okay. Did you hear that? Nobody hides? Okay. I'm not. All three. Move over just a little bit. Flat. There you go. There you go. Okay, we're good. Ready? 1, 2, good. One more time. Get a little closer. 1, 2. Thank you. Congratulations.
And I think one last recognition tonight, Carrie Ross, if you'll come up, bring Ivy with you, our newest city employee. You want to tell us what you're doing first, or Chief, you want to narrate, or what's going on?
Well, Carrie's been a patrolman with us for several years now. He's a very effective officer, really good demeanor. He's shown a great interest in being a K-9 officer. And so we kind of had the program on hold since the last K-9 we put on and then left very quickly. But Carrie texted Sergeant Masters and I one night and said that this Maggie was available from the Southern Ohio Police K-9 School. And how long, Carrie, before I said, contact them, it was perfect fit. I think you guys will see with the demeanor what we're looking for. The administration and I agree we don't need a wolf. We don't need a dog that's gonna go bite. I've worked 20-some years here. We've had bite dogs before. They get so attached to the handlers never put them in those dangerous situations. So we don't, the trend in police work is to get away from the bite dogs. And so this is not a hunt down and jump on somebody dog, but it does all the other functions of the police canines. It does narcotics, it does article search, and it does tracking. And Maggie, which is a chocolate lab, how old is Maggie, Carrie?
She is about 17 months.
So Maggie has a nose like no other. In fact, when Sergeant Masters and I went to attend Carrie's state certification after 5 weeks of school, and my comment was, if there were drugs on the end of a matchstick in a matchbook, this dog would tell you which one. Because I've never seen, I'm working with several canines in my career, I've never seen one that just pinpoints and can show the location so accurately. So we're really excited to have her. She's as friendly as can be. She loves belly rubs. He could unleash her here and let her interact with everybody. She's just a lovable dog. And if Kerry decides he doesn't want that dog, Mr. Swackhammer and I are going to fight. Winner takes the dog home, because we both are just in love with this dog. So with that, Kerry, what I have done is I've just set up a demonstration. And it is truly blind. Carrie has no idea which one of these white boxes that have been under my constant supervision contain actual drugs. Not drugs that are going to hurt anybody from where it's sitting there. We're going to see if Carrie Maggie can find in these boxes, and we'll let you do a demo on narcotics location to see if she can find them. So if you guys don't care, just stay back and we'll let Carrie do his thing. So what we have is nothing, and this one we had was somebody tried to pass off as methamphetamine and never tested for methamphetamine, but there was a substance in there.
You notice you did have an hard interest right there.
Nothing,
I'm not going to reward her unless you actually.
nothing, and nothing. But the one here, methamphetamine. So Maggie does pretty good work. Thanks, Chief. I get them all?
I would just like to thank everybody, especially Mr. Swackhammer, Mr. Evans, for allowing us to have this program back. I know it's not cheap. It's not cheap to upkeep. It's not cheap to, initially get started, and I know it takes a lot of trust in the K-9 officer, so I do appreciate that, especially the Chief Hinch. Like Chief Hinch, since our last one left, I've been on him, and it's always been something that sometimes I didn't always agree with, but looking back now, I totally understand. So I thank everybody, and especially Chief Hinch, for giving me this opportunity. I've been in law enforcement a little over 7 years now, and this has always been my dream in law enforcement, so now I finally get to live that dream out, so I appreciate all of it. Thank you all.
Dan, that completes our recognition part of the meeting.
Thank you, Mayor. Appreciate it. Wonderful stuff. Next on our agenda are those who have signed up to speak this evening. We have one, Ms. Rutger, who's called ahead, so we will give her 5 minutes at the mic, please. And then Ms. Howe will be after her for 3 minutes.
Kind of short. Can you hear me? Like you said, my name is Adrienne Rutger. I'm here to just kind of introduce a group that I kind of head up, I guess. We started about a year ago, called Jackson County Forward. Briefly, I moved to Jackson in 1988. Lived here most of the time. I raised my kids here. My husband died in 2017, and when he died, my kids, were moving on. My business is in Gallipolis, and my friends are like, why aren't you going to move away? And I said, I prayed about it, really thought about it, and I said, no, this is home. This is where I want to be. I see so much potential in Jackson. I travel around a lot. I travel in the United States. I travel in Europe, and there's just something about this area and something about Jackson. So just briefly, over the last couple of years, some friends, old friends, new friends, we just, how things are. We just came together and we started talking about ideas and thoughts and how we can make Jackson better. You guys are doing a great job, but I run a business and I know I can't do it all, and I need help all the time. So we saw some of the things that we wanted, some outdoor recreation things. I'm a passionate hiker, pickleball, biking, also cultural, historical, arts things. And so if we want some of these things, we've got to step in and help. So we formed a little group. We took on some other people. We have about 14 now, and in December we became a 501c3 nonprofit, so we can apply for grants. We can get donations to come along and help the city, the county, other groups. We've done a couple of things already. We did offer some support letters for some, like the capital funding and stuff like that, and we'll continue to do that. We've been out mapping at Hammertown on our GPS, on our all trails, because we want to put it on all trails so that people actually look at all trails and say, hey, there's more than Lake Catherine. We can actually come hike at Hammertown too, because when people come hike, they come spend money. We applied for a grant. We don't know yet. It's through America 250 to have a professional muralist come and do some murals on some of the buildings downtown, if that works out. So hopefully something like that happens. But anyway, tonight I'm here because there's something that's passionate to my heart and to the group, and that's our brick streets. Like I said, I came in 1988. I grew up in California, went to college out there, came in my 20s to Ohio. The first thing I fell in love with was the brick streets. And if you've grown up here, it maybe not seem such a big deal, but if you come from other areas, it's a big deal. It's mesmerizing. There's charm, culture, history. I love history. Anyway, fast forward 2021, I downsized. I sold my house on Gay Street, and I bought this little house over here on Church Street and got it remodeled, and I was really happy. I live on a brick street finally. Super excited about that. But I did hear that they were going to be paved over, and we only have a couple of them left. So I was kind of sad, so I thought, well, I'm going to do some research and see, what's the trend? What's going on here? Like, is this the trend to be more modern, or, what's going on in Ohio and the Midwest and East? What's going on everywhere else? So started Googling, my friends were looking too, and I honestly was just blown away by all the articles out there that were in favor of brick streets, and people are like saving their brick streets right and left. In the last 10 years, everywhere, Midwest, East, even in Missouri, people are just like save your brick, save your brick, save your brick. They're passing ordinances to protect the bricks everywhere. So I was shocked. So I was like, okay. So I kind of spread that around. So I started talking to people. I was talking to a few of my neighbors. I was talking to some local businesses, just some friends, our group, just kind of get the feel, like, am I out in left field? Where, what's going on? And I was shocked. Like, people were everywhere from, yeah, we really like the brick, or please save the brick, or don't cover up the brick. Okay. Anyway, so from there on, I thought, okay, I'm going to put out a little informal petition and just see what people think. And this is very passive. We just put it at a couple of businesses just to see, see what people thought. So it's been less than 2 weeks. We have between 200 and 300 already. We haven't tried, but we're going to. Our plan is to go out and see. But good things about brick streets, they last a really, really, really long time. They calm the traffic for the police. Most importantly, I think, is the charm, the history, what they do for the sense of place in a town. And if you have a sense of a good place in a town, your culture, your history, you're proud of it, people come, they visit, they spend money, your kids stay, businesses come, more tax dollars. So the trend out there is to do that. Kay's going to speak really quick, I think, on another part of it. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Rucker.
Speed talking. So, thank you also for everything that you guys are doing. The city is fantastic, the streets, the electric, all of it. So, on this specific topic, I know that it's a lot of work and a lot more expensive to keep the brick. So, I reached out to, I saw Mayor Patterson at the MacArthur announcement for funding for our area, and he was leaving, headed to his car, and I said, and I didn't know his opinion of the streets, and I said, we have a couple streets in Jackson that we're looking to pave, and we're just wondering if there's any possibility to save them, or your thoughts on the brick streets. And he said, save your brick streets, save your brick streets. Like, he was so passionate. He said, email me and I'll send you an ordinance and I'll see if I can help. Well, today he called and said that he's willing to, and I don't know him that well. I know him from going to a seminar with him back in 2019 or something. But he said, I will send over a crew to work with your people to try to make it easier if they've got tips and tricks in Athens for their streets. So he was willing to do that. So that's all I had to share. Thank you.
Thank you, Kay.
Permission to speak.
Go right ahead.
Y'all know what I'm going to say. I've said it a million times. I think I've been in the seat since 2018, and if you look back at the record, I said it a million times that we need to take what little bit of history that we have left and save it. So my question is, will this council stand up and say, let's just save the 2 remaining brick streets, because we have the authority to do that just by ourselves, and then they can figure out how to fix them. If we do nothing, I'm thinking they're going to not fix them, because we've already had this conversation before. They're going to pave over them with a little thin layer of asphalt, maybe 3/4 of an inch of asphalt. It's going to last 2 years, because look at Bridge Street right now. Look at State Street, both brick streets, beautiful brick streets probably back in the day, that are just, the pavement's been on there for 2 years, and there's potholes at at Bennett Avenue. There's the pavement's cracking at High Street and State Street. If you go down Bridge from Giovanni's down to the Dollar Store, it's concrete. That's probably been down 2 years, and it's just garbage already. I get it. I get what we're doing. I get the purpose of, paving streets that have not been paved for a long time. She's right. The brick's going to outlast everything. what would it hurt? I'm asking, what would it hurt to take we've already paved Columbia from Pearl to the post office is one, and then Church, part of that's in my ward, so from Pearl Street to South Street, Church Street is in Ward 1. What would it hurt to tear the brick up, fix whatever needs fixed under, move anything that we need to fix, manhole covers, whatever you need to replace, putting the base back down and replacing the brick? I'm asking, what would hurt to do that on the two streets that are left in the whole city? What would that hurt?
You want me to take it, or you want to take it?
You go first.
Okay. First of all, you'd have to look at the cost section, but we also, all our water and sewer lines pretty much run in our streets. And that's why you see a lot of the brick streets that's got asphalt or concrete patches in them today. It's because we've had to make a repair. And then you've got to turn around and try to repair the brick street back, which we've never done. We've never had the knowledge to know how to do that in-house. It's something you'd have to outsource. And if you look at most of the articles, they say you have to be able to do it rather quickly. It just gets worse. I know in Marietta, they actually put together a commission around the brick streets and stuff and they spend anywhere from $50,000 to $60,000 a year just in doing brick street repairs. The article I read today, I don't know whether it was a couple years ago when it'll come out. So it's something that we hadn't taken into consideration. I know ODOT's plan right now is to pave Church from Main to Pearl, and from that intersection clear to Giovanni's is on an ODOT paving list for the July timeframe. Tracy, am I correct with that? So those brick streets are already on an ODOT paving list for this year.
So I'm hearing no. If you want to say no, just say no.
No, I'm just telling you what's in the works right now. We've never went out and did a cost estimate on what you suggested, taking all the bricks up, doing all the utility replacements under them, so hopefully you don't have to touch them for a while, and relaying the brick down. That has never been, we've never went out and cost estimated something like that. And I'm not against brick streets. I like brick streets. With our utilities running in our streets, so that's an issue that we always have to keep it in front of us.
But, on top of that, we're doing a water line project down South Street. Instead of putting the new water line in the right-of-way, which is the grass section of South Street, we're putting it back in the road. That doesn't make a lot of sense.
I think you're putting it back in asphalt.
Right, but if any repairs need to be made, we have to dig the street up again when we have that grass section beside the street. I'm just saying, there wasn't a lot, I don't feel like there was a lot of involvement or forethought saying, oh yeah, we'll just put it back where the original one was. So you get down to that area, Church Street, it zags back across the middle of the street. So if you ever have a water repair, you have to tear that all up too. And to be honest with you, it would make more sense to put it in the grass area. And you say, well, they can't. Well, we could have made them. We could have said, yeah, you have to put it back there. And when they're doing the cost and the evaluation of the project, they say, hey, we need it over here in the grass. I'm sure they'd be like, okay, whatever you want. But we have to be the ones that tell them these things. It's the same with this ODOT project. Like, have we voted on any match funds for that one?
Yeah, you actually approved us to apply for the grant.
I understand that the ODOT has regulations on what a street can be. There's a part of ORC that tells you what the street can be. It's just not going to happen. I can look, but I'll just say this. You guys are going to be the guys who paved over the last brick streets. So hopefully they'll remember you for that.
Well, it'd been nice if this conversation would have been happening a year ago.
My dad was sitting here beside me at the time, and it was just, no, we can't do this, too expensive, because we talked about Nelsonville for the Star Bricks at Nelsonville. And I'm not trying to be facetious or anything, but it's like history is important, especially in little towns like this that don't really have a lot. Star Brick, it's a brick place in Nelsonville. So if you've ever been down to the square in Nelsonville, every brick on the street is a star. They fixed theirs. I mean, look at Athens, for crying out loud. They spent spent a bazillion dollars, and theirs are perfect. I mean, they'll last another 100 years. And they had planning and forethought to move utilities and things like that. So I'll get off my soapbox. I can't die on the hill for the brick streets, but it stinks. It really does. It stinks.
Mayor? Regarding the water line on South Street, the reason it was put back in the street was to save the trees. If you think brick streets is an issue, try to take it out of the trees. But anyway.
I think, what did that gas line do? Every route on, all the way down through, they probably killed 50 million trees. Where was everybody with the pitchforks for that one?
Had to run down the water down either side of the streets, they had to remove all of the trees on that side of the streets. But that's neither here nor there, that's not to do with brick streets, but that's why it was put back where it was. The engineers, not us, the engineers decide where it would be best. So we don't make the decisions, the engineers do. That's not what we're here for. But it could have been done there, and you're right, we could have made them take the water line out of the street. But it would have still had to cross the street at every house, or we'd had to run two water lines. And, we applied for these grants to make these improvements, and we don't get to make every decision necessarily. Then we hire an engineer to design it. And, you're right, we probably could have worked with the engineer and said, we don't want it in the street. But then we would have lost all the trees on one side or the other. And then we'd have still been cutting completely across the street at every house. Or boring, but a lot of it was planned to be bored, but they can't because it encountered a lot of rock and just can't. But back to the streets. I don't think anybody in here, including this group, would love the old brick streets more than me. I often think, and I often ask even, I'd love to have been here when all the streets were new, because they were all brick. And I'm sure it was just incredibly beautiful and nice. Unfortunately, I think the time to save them was a long time ago. There's you're right, brick streets for 100 years, but they're 100 years old. And the brick are very badly deteriorated and broken and chipped and soft. And they have suffered many, many years of abuse by the city workers and utility workers digging them up and getting rid of them. Even the last two streets we're talking about have a lot of areas. We would have to find a lot of brick to put them back because there's a lot of brick missing. And I would never say it can't be done because I believe anything can be done. It would be very costly. It probably wouldn't be saving those brick streets, it'd be replacing them with new brick. That would probably be the only practical way to do it, honestly. I don't know that because I've never done it either, but I'm just guessing. Could be done, be very costly, and if that's the way you want to go, we can look at it. But, practically every brick street in Jackson has already been covered, not by us previously. I don't know that we've covered any new ones, but we're about to because we've been on the paving list. One of them is a 2-year-old ODOT grant that paves that part of Church Street, that one of the streets that they're talking about. Also, we've been doing the other part of Church Street, we've already redone all the curbs, and they're set up for paving. So that would all have to be redone too. Or the new brick would have to be brought to that elevation. And all that work was done in preparation of paving them. So it's not been a secret that we were going to pave these streets ever. It's just every other brick street in Jackson's already been paved. So if this council wants to save these last two streets, try to save them, we'll take them off the paving list, we'll cancel ODOT's contract on that part, and we'll look into it. That's up to you guys. We just work for you all. We work for the citizens, we work for groups like this, and they have been a huge help, by the way, on trying to make Jackson better. And we don't fight them, we work with them, and they're a great group. They're very active. They've been very active in helping us, helping Tracy and us try to get grants and stuff. We have the same hopes for Jackson. We want to improve the parks. We want to add bike trails. We want to add walking trails, bike trails. We want to do that at Lake Hammertown. They've been behind trying to promote that. We're not against one another. We're all on kind of the same team as far as making Jackson better. But this is a very, very difficult. You talk about these last two brick streets that are very deteriorated. They've been very abused, the brick in them. There's a lot of brick missing. It won't be easy, it won't be cheap. But if that's what this council wants to do, that's what we'll look into. That's simple. We don't make those decisions. We're just moving ahead like we thought we should.
Can I ask one more, two more questions? How much, like, I know you guys talked about paving a street, like a block. How much pave, like, say 50 feet of pavement on a 30-foot wide street costs X amount of dollars, and how long does it last? You told us. I should have wrote it down.
What was that again?
You told us that it costs X amount of dollars to pave from street to street, so a block. You said, at this thickness and blah, 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 it was this much. But my question on that is, how long does it last? 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, and then you have to pave it again?
Well, you gotta understand, we're not paving new roads, we're building new roads. We're putting a paving surface on the top of a very old road, most of them which doesn't have a good base.
You're actually making my point. If we didn't repair the road, we just paved it over. So,
well, we can't afford to build a new road. If we can,
tell me that your guys knew how to pour a curve. Because I can tell you they really evolved in their curve pouring from when they started on South Street, because they look really different over here than they did when they first started. Because why? Because they learned how to do it. Someone, trial and error, they figured it out. I'll stop now. I'm
not saying we can't learn how.
We can talk about it.
I'm saying we can't afford to.
Right, it's just, I don't know, it just seems like the low-hanging fruit, the easiest thing, is always the way we do things around here. And this is why we get 30 years behind all the time. So, I'll get off the soapbox.
Other discussion? Ms. Colby?
Yeah, I would like, if we've only got two brick roads left, is that what you said? Two. Yeah. I would like.
I'll be a part of church.
Okay, I really would like to see that we could keep just two roads if we could, maybe, if we could.
Other discussion?
I got a question.
Mr. Reed?
Would those, not saying not to save those streets, but would those be the streets to save, or would there be a better, like the downtown area in the renovation project? I don't know about administration, I don't know what they're looking at, but if you're got a grant to do renovations, would that be, if you're redoing your downtown, and we've got money to do that, would that be the area to put in brick? If you had to take those up, if you had to get rid of those streets, if you did, I don't know that you do, but that's somebody else's answer.
We did receive the grant for downtown streetscape, but it only involves 3 blocks downtown, I believe. And it's not designed yet, but early drawings, early architect's rendering that we went to ACGP with, did show brick in the crosswalks at each intersection. They were brick. But that would be new brick, that's not the old brick. So, I don't know if that's answering your question, but, and if you're meaning, can ODOT remove the asphalt off of Main Street and show the old brick, I have no clue. I have no clue.
Can I ask a question just quickly? Isn't that what was presented when they fixed Main Street Hill? There's a ORC section that says the state routes have to be of a certain thickness or pavement or concrete or whatever, so they had to remove the brick anyway. I would think that being discussed. I don't think that's an option, because I don't think a state route is allowed to be brick, because that's why we had to fixed
Yeah, I don't know.
Main Street.
Apparently we can have crosswalks on an or, I'm not even sure of that. It was designed in there for the ACGP, but that's very preliminary, ODOT hasn't approved it, so I don't know.
Other discussion? Hearing none, we'll move on to the next part of our agenda. That would be
approval of the minutes. You each had a copy of the minutes from last month's meeting. Any objections or corrections to the minutes as presented to council? Hearing none, the chair would take a motion.
I'll move to accept the minutes.
Peters, is there a second? Ms. Colby? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion is carried. Next on our agenda is utility report, or I'm sorry, committee reports. We'll begin with utility chairman, Mr. Newkirk.
No report.
Thank you, Mr. Newkirk. Budget and finance, Ms. Colby.
No report.
Thank you, Ms. Colby. Police, fire, and traffic, Mr. Foster.
No report.
Thank you, Mr. Foster. Service, Mr. Peters.
Other than I have in contact with Seth Stockmeister, he can print that map as big as we need it. So I don't think we need it to be that big, maybe like the size of like a desk calendar or something. That way we can present it to you.
That'd be fine. Thank you.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Peters. The auditor's report, Mr. Reed.
The only thing I've got is the gap conversion was completed and sent in. I filed with the state. Other than that, I have no.
Thank you, Mr. Reed. Mr. Kirby?
I have no report.
Thank you, Mr. Kirby. Chief Hinch?
No report.
Thank you, Chief Hinch. Mayor Evans?
Couple of things. I failed to mention this while the pool manager and some of our new pool employees were here, but the pool does open May 25th. So that's just around the corner. It is open and ready. We actually have installed some new playground equipment up there and are in the process of putting a little basketball court in that can be lowered for kids next to that new shelter that we built up there last year. There was various sources of grants we used for those improvements up at Hillcrest. Also, I laid on, bring the streets back up, I laid on each of your seats there a list of the paving, of proposed streets for paving for this year. Please note that Church Street, Columbia Street are both on there. So if you want to stop that, you might need to bring this up again before the end of the meeting, if council wishes to change our direction there. And it's totally up to you guys. But we have, in tonight's packet, is the award for the contract on the paving. It'd be McKee Paving, which you did a paving last year, has been determined to be the lowest and best bid. And it was within what we thought it should be. So that'll come up tonight. Also, we've talked about the Clinton Taft Sewer Project many times here, where we are doing some repair, and a lot of it is lining old sewer that goes from the Clinton Street area there at Morton Street, Clinton Street area out to Taft Street, and services sewer from the McKittrick Heights area. We have had a bid opening on that. It was not ready. Probably at the next council will ask you to award that contract for that project. And then we had a pre-bid last week and for the repainting of our Apple Tower. And May 15th we're receiving bids on that. So hopefully that'll go well. We can get the Apple Tower repainted yet this summer. We did receive another large grant that I'm announcing tonight. It was through ODOT, and it was a Transportation Alternatives Program. We'll receive $3 million in federal funds for pedestrian connectivity and sidewalk improvement projects. This project involves sidewalk repair and installation of sidewalks to better connect various community components, such as the Middle High School, the library, and recreation opportunities. These funds aren't available until '27. So, but we have been awarded that. They'll be beginning early planning. We're hoping part of that is to get new and improved sidewalks in the area of the middle school, high school. We're hoping down here on Street where there aren't any in some areas. So we're really excited about that. And Finally, I've been asked about this, but Tracy, in working with the Chamber of Commerce, has scheduled a ribbon cutting for the new boat ramp and kayak launch out at Hammertown Lake. That is set for Wednesday, May 27th at noon. Of course, everyone, council and the public is invited to attend that ribbon cutting out at Lake Hammertown. And I think that's all I have, Dan.
Thank you, Mayor. Any questions for the mayor? Mr. Swickhammer.
The next council meeting was canceled because of a holiday. Of course, the city will not be working that day, so garbage pickup will be on the following Tuesday. Just so everybody's aware, we normally, if it's a Monday, it's on Tuesday, if it's a Friday, it's on Thursday. Other than that, I have no new business.
Thank you, Mr. Swickhammer. Any questions for the service director? Seeing none, we'll move into our ordinances and resolutions portion of the meeting. We will begin with ordinance 2124. Ms. Coon?
An ordinance amending the City of Jackson zoning regulations, Chapter 2, to remove family care home and group care home as a conditional use and to add small residential facilities, emergency protective shelters, large residential facilities, permanent supportive housing, and residential treatment facilities and transitional living centers, and declaring an emergency.
Discussion.
Just a question of clarification. So this is third reading, so if this passes, this will be enacted immediately.
As long as you get five votes.
Without suspending.
Without suspending the rules. If you get 4 votes,
It's 30 days. 30 days.
yes, 30, just want to make sure that was in there.
Thank you, Mr. Pierce.
So, yeah, no need to suspend the rules, because if we vote how I feel we're going to vote, it'll take it back, so.
Thank you, Mr. Peters. Other discussion? Ms. Coon, roll call?
Foster.
Yes.
Elliott. Colby. Yes. Peters.
Yes.
Newkirk.
Yes.
Crabtree.
Yes.
Bach.
Yes. Ordinance 2124 is duly adopted. Next, for council consideration, ordinance 2224. Ms. Coon?
An ordinance amending the City of Jackson zoning regulations, Chapter 5, to remove Section K regulations for family care and group care homes and replace it with Section K regulations for emergency protective shelters, permanent supportive housing, large residential facilities, and residential treatment facilities and transitional living centers, and declaring an emergency.
Discussion. Ms. Coon, roll call?
Foster.
Yes.
Colby.
Yes.
Peters.
Yes.
Newkirk.
Yes.
Crabtree.
Yes.
Bach.
Yes. Ordinance 2224 is duly adopted. Next, for council consideration, third reading, ordinance 2324. Ms. Coon?
An ordinance amending the City of Jackson zoning regulations, Chapter 9, to add definitions for emergency protective shelters, permanent supportive housing, residential treatment facilities, and transitional living centers, and declaring an emergency.
Discussion. Ms. Coon, roll call?
Foster.
Yes.
Colby.
Yes.
Peters.
Yes.
Newkirk.
Yes.
Crabtree.
Yes.
Bach.
Yes. Ordinance 2324 is duly adopted. Next, ordinances on second reading. We will begin with ordinance 2424. Ms. Coon?
An ordinance authorizing an income tax at the rate of 1.5% for the purposes of street and sidewalk repairs and/or replacement, and for maintenance or construction of other city infrastructure, the demolition of unsafe buildings and general operations and services of the city, including funding the operations of the police department and fire department for a continuing period commencing January 1st, 2026, and declaring an emergency.
Discussion. Further action on ordinance 2424? Hearing none, this constitutes the second reading of ordinance 2424. Next, for council consideration, second reading, ordinance 2524. Ms. Coon?
An ordinance calling for the placement on the ballot of the next general election in the city of Jackson, Ohio, the issue of enacting an income tax at the rate of 1.5% for the purposes of street and sidewalk repairs and/or replacement, and for maintenance or construction of other city infrastructure, the demolition of unsafe buildings and general operations and services of the city, including the funding the operations of the police department and fire department for a continuing period commencing January 1st, 2026, and declaring an emergency.
Discussion. Any further action on ordinance 2524? Hearing none, this constitutes the second reading of ordinance 2524. Next, ordinance first reading, ordinance number 3124. Ms. Kuhn?
An ordinance repealing and amending the City of Jackson's codified ordinance section 925.26 regarding fats, oils, and grease abatement and declaring an emergency.
Could I get a motion to adopt ordinance 3124 as presented to council? Peters, is there a second? Ms. Colby? All those in favor say aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion is carried. Discussion. Mr. Swackhammer.
Yes, as we've discussed in several of the meetings here lately, we've had a couple of incidences associated with grease getting into our sanitary sewer, either by accident or by other means. And so this ordinance helps us put a lot more teeth into our existing ordinances and brings us much more aligned with what other cities are doing for this. And so I'm going to ask council to consider helping us move this forward right away to get it on the books.
Thank you, Mr. Swackhammer.
Mr. President, I'll agree, it is an emergency, so I'll move to suspend the rules.
Motion by Mr. Peters, second by Mr. Newkirk. Discussion? Ms. Kuhn?
Foster.
Yes.
Colby. Yes. Peters.
Yes.
Newkirk.
Yes.
Crabtree.
Yes.
Bach.
Discussion? Ms. Kuhn?
Foster.
Yes.
Colby. Yes. Peters.
Yes.
Newkirk.
Yes.
Crabtree.
Yes.
Bach.
Ordinance 3124 is duly adopted. Next, for council consideration, we'll be looking at resolutions. First reading, resolution 2124. Ms. Kuhn?
A resolution of the legislative authority of the City of Jackson, Ohio to accept the bid of McKee Paving and Sealing LLC in an amount not to exceed $1,171,939 plus an amount of up to 20% of additional quantities at the bid prices for the 2024 City of Jackson Street Paving Program, as it was the lowest and best responsive bid submitted, and declaring an emergency.
Could I get a motion to adopt Resolution 2124 as presented to council? Mr. Newkirk, is there a second? Mr. Crabtree, second. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion is carried. Discussion. Mayor Evans.
As I mentioned earlier, this is just our contract to hire McKee Paving for the summer paving project. As I give you the proposed list of tonight, I would ask that you consider passing this on first reading also.
If I might, I got a question also. In the dark up there, it says amount up to 20% additional quantities, but then down below, it's got the dollar amount from the 1,171,000 to 1.4 for the additional 20. So I guess my question is, what takes precedence, the dollar amount or the quantities?
Mr. Kirby.
So they wouldn't necessarily be the same?
No, because there could be other things.
So on this, it would be the 1.4.
Okay.
In that case, it would be 20% of the total price.
Okay, that's what I get, that's what our intentions were. I just wanted to make sure we didn't look at the quantity amount versus the dollar amount.
Yeah, it would be, so the heading is a summary, but it would be what's in section 1 that would control.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Kirby.
Total amount not to exceed means not to exceed 1.406.
Other discussion? Any further action to be taken upon Resolution 2124? Hearing none, this constitutes the first reading of Resolution 2124.
Excuse me, does council want to delay the paving? Is that, just asking. Do they understand that's what they're doing? Because we're not meeting for a month now. So.
I'll move to suspend the rules. Second by Mr. Foster. Discussion? Ms. Kuhn?
Foster.
Yes.
Colby. Yes. Peters.
Yes.
Newkirk. Crabtree. Bach.
Discussion.
Foster.
Yes.
Colby. Yes. Peters. Newkirk.
Yes.
Crabtree. Bach.
Resolution 2124 is duly adopted. Next for council consideration, first reading, Resolution 2224. Ms. Kuhn?
A resolution authorizing the Service Safety Director of the City of Jackson to adopt and use the pole attachment agreement template negotiated by AMP Ohio and declaring an emergency.
We need a motion to adopt Resolution 2224 as presented to council. Mr. Peters, is there a second? Ms. Colby? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. The motion is carried. Discussion. Mr. Swackhammer.
Back in the 80s, I believe it was, at that time, the telephone company, General Telephone, or whatever it was called out of Chillicothe, was the only provider of telephone in the area, and they were using our poles, and so we had a pole agreement in place for them. Now, with all the new fiber money that's out there, we got a lot of people coming in, different businesses that want to use our poles. We had no pole agreements in place. We reach out to AMP because they've done this for other municipalities. They gave us a copy of what the pole agreement was that they've got in place with a lot of those communities. We had Joe take a look at it, and that's really what we're wanting to adopt here. At the same time, I'm asking Mr. Kirby to go ahead and put Frontier on notice that we have 3 years, we have to give them advance notice. That this new pole agreement, it will be whatever we adopt here and not the current one that's been in effect for 30, 40 years.
Thank you, Mr. Swackhammer. Discussion. Any further action to be taken on Resolution 2224?
So this is just a draft, right? I mean, it's dated 2023, and even on the fee schedule, says the rate for each year after 2023 will increase by annual rate of 2%, and the prior year's rate when we started it at 2023.
So it would be the 2% above that. And the reason that is, so the statute says that the rates are supposed to be at the actual cost. And I can only imagine how difficult it is to figure out what the actual cost of hanging each of those wires on a pole would be. And apparently, AMP and other groups have come to a same understanding that while the state said this is what you have to do and come up with actual cost, it wasn't very uniform. So AMP and others had entered into basically an agreement that for a period of time, and so that's the agreement we adopted. This is a template, so there'll be things changed. I think in there it says village and city. I didn't want to make a lot of changes to the template because we were adopting it as a template. But, and that template actually, their tentative agreement that they had actually expires this year, I think. That doesn't mean you can't go on with it, but it does expire. So this was a very good starting spot as far as a lot of very bright people come up with what the cost is, and they agreed to it. So it would be 2% above that.
Then the schedule would dictate for how long the contract is.
Right, exactly. And if any company objects to this, they're not party to the agreement, they could always, I think their objection goes to the Public Utilities Commission, in which case I expect we'll rely on AMP heavily as to share your experts with us as to how you come up with these numbers or come up with our own. So it is a template, but the price would go up 2% for next year and then each year after that.
Thank you.
Other discussion? Any further action to be taken on Resolution 2224? Hearing none, this constitutes the first reading of Resolution 2224. Next, council consideration, first reading, Resolution 2324. Ms. Kuhn?
A resolution authorizing an amendment to the agreement with New River Engineers Incorporated to provide professional engineering services for the Mill Street Area Sanitary Sewer Replacement Project and declaring an emergency.
Can I get a motion to adopt Resolution 2324 as presented to the council? Mr. Newkirk, is there a second? Ms. Colby, second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion is carried. Discussion. Mayor Evans.
In the Mill Street project, we actually had we completed the project and had a little grant money left over, so we're extending the scope of that a little bit to extend into a couple areas that we didn't know we needed before, but are in that same Athens Street, I actually think. Is that right?
Yes.
So this is to the additional engineering fees and hiring New River, which is who engineered the project to start with, to add a little bit more to the work.
And it all falls within the grant
Yeah,
funds.
it's all grant money.
Other discussion?
Suspend the rules.
Mr. Newkirk, to suspend the rules, second by Mr. Foster. Discussion? Ms. Kuhn?
Foster.
Yes.
Colby. Yes. Peters.
Yes.
Newkirk.
Yes.
Crabtree. Bach.
Further discussion? Ms. Kuhn?
Foster.
Yes.
Colby. Yes. Peters.
Yes.
Newkirk.
Yes.
Crabtree.
Resolution 2324 is duly adopted. Next, for council consideration, first reading, Resolution 2424. Ms. Kuhn?
A resolution pursuant to Section 719.04 of the Ohio Revised Code declaring it necessary and declaring it to be the intention of the legislative authority of the City of Jackson to appropriate an easement in certain real property located at 826 East Main Street, Jackson, Ohio, for the purpose of erecting and constructing thereon and thereafter, operating, repairing, maintaining, or removing lines for water lines together with all fixtures and appurtenances used in connection therewith, and promoting public health, safety, and welfare, and declaring an emergency.
Could I get a motion to adopt Resolution 2424 as presented to council? Mr. Peters, is there a second? Mr. Newkirk? All those in favor say aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion is carried. Discussion.
Can I put that one in layman's terms? So as the water line project that runs from 32 back toward Walmart, we needed to obtain several easements down through there. We have one property owner that is the property where the Amish buildings are on the other side of KFC. He doesn't want to allow us to have an easement, will not consider giving us an easement. We went back to ODOT on 3 occasions to try to get an easement from them. We need that water line goes across this property anyway, and we need to come up along outside the fence. We don't even need to be inside in the gravel area where the buildings are setting, but we need to bring a water line up through there. This is the only way we're going to be able to move forward in getting that project completed. It's not a desired way to do business, but at this point, we have no way else of completing the project.
That's what you was doing out there a couple weeks ago?
Mm-hmm.
You and Greg?
Yep.
Okay.
So if you pass this, what happens is we're working on getting an appraisal. You're required to have an appraisal. And appraisers are kind of hard to find, but we do have someone that's looking into doing it from Scioto County. And then we can take that, we have to give them a notice. They have 15 days to consider the appraisal, so it starts the negotiation process. They'll have 15 days to look at that and decide whether or not they want to agree to the appraised price or some other price. If not, and we can't come to an agreement, then we have to file basically a lawsuit to take the property and the values determined by a jury. So this is the first step to get the appraisal in front of them once it's done and try to negotiate a price. But ultimately, this is needed if we're to file a lawsuit.
So you need to take that house? Or you need to take that house?
So, no, there wouldn't
There's
be...
no house.
okay.
No, this is on the outside of the fence, there'll be the yard barns. Yeah. Yeah, we only need 3 feet up through there.
The map's really hard to read.
It's not an easy one to read. I have things blown up.
So, I know what you're talking about. There's a white, like vinyl fence or something down there.
Yeah, we're not gonna bother it.
But how far is this property line? 3 feet?
About, yeah.
So you literally need to...
We're basically on the line.
Because he has to bore under 32, right?
Yeah, we got to go under 32 at the end of the ramps.
For the, I mean, time is of the essence.
Yes.
Timing is very much of the essence.
Yes.
Sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do, right? Yeah, I'll move to suspend the rules.
Second.
Get some resolution.
Yeah.
Mr. Foster, second. Discussion. Ms. Coon?
Foster.
Yes.
Colby.
Yes.
Peters.
Yes.
Newkirk.
Yes.
Crabtree.
Yes.
Bach.
Yes.
Further discussion. Ms. Coon?
Foster.
Yes.
Colby.
Yes.
Peters.
Yes.
Newkirk.
Yes.
Crabtree. Bach.
Yes.
Resolution 2424 is duly adopted. This concludes our portion for ordinances and resolutions. I thank council for their work. Next on our agenda, I don't believe we've had any correspondence. So, moving into old business, there was a question, I believe, in prior meeting in regards to the number of Airbnbs in the city of Jackson. And Mr. Swackhammer, what was that number?
4 is currently being advertised.
Is there any other old business to be brought before council?
I have something regarding our meeting with the zoning outfit. And they told us that we had any suggestions or changes that we needed to get back to them in a timely manner. One thing, and there's some sort of initiative, and I don't have any information with it, but I read about it, and a friend of mine works for ODNR, and he went down south, and, the state's looking into, adopting some of these things where, in our downtown area, if a building is torn down, they're forced to do something other than put gravel or something there, like where they have to make green space. So if there's a row of buildings, they either have to build it back. If they choose not to build it back, they have to provide green space, meaning whatever shrubbery, a path through, benches, something's required of them for, it's just a blighted spot. When ODNR toured, they went to like Alabama and some part of like southern Georgia where a lot of small towns like ours have, a row of buildings and there's missing where they, either burned or were torn down or whatever. And there are these little pockets in the downtown area where, buildings used to stand that are green space. So I don't know what authority they can have to do that, or if they could look into it and at least give us examples if that's something that happens in Ohio, but...
Actually, that was a conversation they had with myself earlier on for, especially if we design a historical area, like the 3 blocks that Mayor Evans was talking about, which probably has at least one of those right now in it, that you could do something like that in your historical area, that if it wasn't going to be saved, of course, you'd have a new building. If they weren't going to build back to your historical code, you could do a pocket park or something else that would be aesthetically pleasing and add to, not deteriorate from, the downtown area.
That's just something, if we could just bounce that off of them and see what they say, at least give us some feedback or some direction on that. That's all I had. Thanks.
As an insurance guy, I would tend to think that if I owned a lot of property, I would not open it up for people just to come and sit and transverse through it because you would have slip and fall and all kinds of issues. So,
Kind of what I think is happening though for like these downtown revitalizations is like maybe you owned it and you leased it to someone else. Like one of them had an adult park. Like there's a slide, there's a giant swing set. You're laughing, but you would be surprised. You would be surprised.
I would be.
So
I would
like,
be.
it's not just black and white, you know, it's like, there's people with abstract thought out there sometimes that can say, oh, yeah, let's put that there, and people show up. So at least they can give us, I'm sure someone in Ohio has done something like that.
You're probably correct. I would guess that's true.
That's all I have, thank you.
Is there any further old business to be brought before council? Hearing none, we'll go to new business. The one thing that's written on the agenda is weed control. Mr. Schweikhammer?
Yeah, I'll take
Expand on that?
Yeah, I mean, we got into mowing season again. We sent out 140 some, I believe it was, certified letters. Each one's $7 to $8, I think, somewhere in that range. So you can tell we spent $1,000 sending out letters. We started talking to Wellston and what they're doing, and then I was talking to Mr. Kirby. You know, going through all this where we had to send somebody out and they're regularly checking, and we make the list, we come back in, we send out all these certified letters, do the door hangers, turn around and go back out a couple weeks later to see if they've been taken care of. Then you send the people out to mow if nothing's been done. A month has passed. The grass continues to grow. There has to be a better, faster way to react to this. And so what we're asking is really the council's thoughts on enacting some of or streamlining the process to where, you know, I don't want to steal Anthony's thunder, but he says a violation's a violation. And so they just go in and mow and charge for it over at Wellston. And we're just wondering if we should move forward in that direction also. So really asking for council's opinion.
May I?
Yes, go right ahead.
I think it's fair to send the letter out the first time, but maybe not any additional time. And then maybe we up because you have, not this administration, but I know a couple of people that got the tax lien added to their property taxes. Maybe we up that. Still send the letter out one time, but make the penalty higher. Because we have to, offset our costs that way, if that's what we choose to do, but, I mean...
Yeah, I mean, we charge...
If you do what you're saying, are we charging enough?
Yeah, I mean, we charge a minimum of $250 every time we go out and mow a residential property. And we still do many of them a year. We send the whole list to Tiffany to put liens on properties, and it's a big time consumer. We're making some progress, but if you drive around today, you'll see a lot of tall grass, and it's not because, the time you send a certified letter out, it may be a few weeks before you get the certified letter back, and the grass, we're a month behind again, and it's just a never-ending circle.
Well, what do you guys think is the direction?
I mean, we don't know. We've been doing basically what they were doing before we got here, and what we know is it's not working. Because we're into July really before we're mowing lots that have been continued to grow, because they're just now reaching that point to where they're being identified, and they're in the process of sending out letters. And he's right, it's sometimes a long time before we get any response to them letters, and we don't do anything until then. So that's why we had talked with other towns, such as Wellston, to see what they're doing. And Joe just so happened was working on I believe a revised or a resolution or ordinance for them.
The one in Wellston now is similar to the one we used to have, where we had to mow at certain times.
They were changing to some of the ways we had changed to where it's not a certain time of month, it's a certain height. But still, by the time you can go through that lengthy process and do anything about it, it's July. It's twice that high. It's like here. And
they're probably habitual offenders, it's the same people.
it's always the same ones, yeah. I mean, you get a few new ones.
I'm noticing some different ones this year.
Yeah. So, so people complain that we're not doing anything about the high weeds in the grass, yet we are, it's a lengthy process. What
This rain every day doesn't help.
It doesn't help, it is hard, it is hard every day. It is hard to get grass mowed in May, it is.
So if I didn't mow my grass all year, how much would it cost me to city to mow?
$250 every time we go out to do it.
How many times would that be?
Be careful, David, he's wanting to hire us.
I'm just saying that they may be cheap, that just didn't see my grass full time a year.
The new legislation does state trim as well.
A serious question though, when we discussed this, because we changed it, used to do the monthly, then we changed it to the height. When we talked about it, our height is 12 inches, but we talked about.
Yeah, we thought 12 inches was outrageous.
That's not the problem. But now that it's 3 feet.
3 feet high.
You start looking at notifying at 12, and by the time you go through our process, it's 3 feet. And people are saying we didn't do anything, but.
We'll change it to $350? I mean, I know people, those are the same people. I know. Taxes too, so, I don't know, like, that's, maybe skip the whole, like, maybe do the ladder once, but then don't do it again. I don't know, you just have to enforce it, so.
Well, the current legislation says that if you sent a letter to that residence the year before, you don't need to send it the next year. And even us doing that.
You still had 100.
140 something.
I was surprised when he said send notice, I said, why are you sending notice?
It's in the ordinance.
Find that day that, so there is an old ordinance in Jackson that says by registered mail, and you said what could change, that absolutely doesn't work. Registered mail takes so long to get back, and it's so expensive.
So we don't move for a month.
But can we change it to the door tag system, which is the same as the code enforcement?
We could, but some of them are vacant properties or abandoned homes.
Well, then we just go mow that.
Yeah. I think the ordinance will allow us to choose whether.
Well, let's fix it.
And ones that need it, like there's some that in a residential, every house is manicured and then there's one that's 2 foot tall right now.
But here we don't have a meeting this month, so we're like 3 or 4 weeks out from our next meeting, which puts you deeper into a hole. So if we remove the registered mail, just change it to like Ray tagging the door and
I would think some sort of written notice, but failure to give the notice doesn't invalidate it. So you can still, you make an effort to do whatever you can do to notify them, and then you mow. And if they don't get notice, they don't get notice. It's really somewhat on them.
Then we're gonna have to hire more mowers.
Yes.
That's another thing, like, the wear and tear on the equipment, because you don't know, like, you go to mow someone's yard and you don't know what's in there. It could be 3 feet high and the dog chain or something in there, you know what I mean? Then you just ruined a mower, like, that stinks.
Yeah.
Do we have an idea of the ordinance that specifies that? You said it's an old ordinance?
There's the one on notices, I think from 2005 or 6, and it said you have to send it out by registered mail, which I'm taking to mean certified. 2006.
I think Ms. Coon has it. Could you read for us?
I'm in the codified right now. Let me scan it and I'll let you know.
So in the last 20 years, everyone's learned to do nothing until you get your certified letter. We've trained them.
What do you want me to do?
What is the
There's no way to fast track anything because we don't have any documentation here, so they can't do anything, can't act on anything.
I think the idea with Wellston is they wanted, the idea was that they were supposed to be the same.
Yeah.
Between
Hopefully make them both the same too, so for landlords that have properties in both.
So this is something
So
that,
can we do anything tonight to change it, Jeff?
So you're gonna charge us?
Can we start mowing the lawn?
Well, I told me to stop until they talk to you, until I talk to you.
Well, I'm sure we could bid out contracts and have mowers on standby, give them the addresses, and they'd go mow.
Especially if it's like cash and carry, you know, $300, this is yours.
by motion.
Okay, this says that they can be by personal service, residential service, leaving the notice at the residence, or by certified mail.
Okay.
So a residence, we could have door tag it
Yeah, indoor package.
and get by.
I'd
But
get
we
rid
can't
of
make
the
it long.
registered mail one, yeah.
We can't make it long.
Act on it without some,
No, but if it says by leaving it at the door, that's good. What one is that?
Yeah, doesn't he have the authority to do that?
That's ordinance 173-06. And then we passed one in 23 about required cutting.
I moved that a few times, but I was like, nah, there's big holes and everything in there.
It just goes all over the alley.
And the other neighbor mowed it for a while too, and there's just,
Nobody mowed it this year.
but the ground is all sinking in there, like underneath the sidewalk, and the porch is all caving in, it's pretty safe, probably.
I don't know if that house is over the
The one on Bob?
Is that on the demo list? So that house might be coming down.
06-173-06.
What about the one across the street?
Yeah, I wish it was.
We got, I'm sorry.
no.
I'm in the codified.
We're actually just, we're looking at this ordinance for just a second.
That's a cat factory now.
I forgot to put it in my report, but we do have,
The chimney. They got that back stairs, they'll get up on the roof, like the other night I was out there, there's like 3 cats on the roof, and I was like, what the? You go down the chimney. Pretty soon, the chimney's gonna fall in because it's so bad that.
Oh, I was gonna print it for you, but you go ahead.
Easy,
Yeah, but
we do have
the actual ordinance is 173.
properties in the city, that in cooperation with the land bank, we're getting ready to demo.
Who bought
I
the,
forgot to say that.
who bought the Phipps building down there that was? Wait a minute.
We were just by there discussing that today. We're not sure, they haven't been mowed.
Yeah, I think, check on it tomorrow, I think the Vietnamese guy that owns the...
Hi-Ho?
Huh?
Hi-Ho?
I don't know what his name is, but bought the Western Auto Building.
Yeah.
I heard,
We think that might be true.
yeah.
We're gonna reach out to him because it hasn't been mowed.
Close to me.
Go get him.
Hard to catch.
Well, I think we all agree that we do have a problem. The turnaround time is our biggest problem. We could have a mowing crew, that's all they did all summer long was nothing but chase houses that they're out of compliance.
We can work with it, you can work with this notice one here. I think this is along the lines of where we were talking about a door tag, just have to wait 5 days.
Door tag and wait 5 days.
I wouldn't don't try the, I would have Ray stop doing the certified.
Okay, done.
Problem solved.
Not solved, but we're looking for another one crew.
Yeah.
Personal service, resident service, leaving there.
Okay, thank you. Any other new business to be brought before council?
Yes. David has something.
I believe Mr. Peters has something.
I have an executive session.
Okay, before he does that, I do have more new business, kind of. 2 things. Finally, after years, I can't announce it tonight, but I think tomorrow on the Telegram website, or Wednesday, very broadly, it will be announced by City of Jackson, County Commissioners, Jackson County Economic Development Partnership, and Jobs Ohio, Jobs Southeast Ohio, of a new employer coming to town that you probably all kind of feel like you already know about, but look for the news, that'll be out in the next day or two, be made very public, of a new employer coming. Very exciting news, so I'm on a gag order to not mention it yet.
Okay.
So, let's look for it. That's very good news. Out tomorrow or Wednesday at the latest by Pete Wilson. Right? Well, we have tomorrow, Pete?
That is correct. Late tomorrow
That one's
afternoon,
been
tomorrow night.
Late tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow night, it will become public. So,
That's it.
you heard it all here first, you just don't know what it is yet.
Some of us already heard about it.
Most people have already heard about it. And finally, I hate to put council on the spot. I hate to do that. But if you guys want us to hold up on these brick street paving, you need to let us know. I don't care if you take a vote or what, but we gotta know how to act, because this is a group decision here, not David's, not mine. We need to know how to move forward here on this paving.
And especially with the grant. We gotta go back and tell them.
Grant, I hate to put council on the spot like this, but we gotta know what you want us to do. We're not meeting for another 4 weeks, and we need to know what to do.
The ODOT project, I guess I was confused as I asked several times, even recently, and I guess I just assumed that's what we're talking about. I thought it was Pearl Street that was being paved from Bridge Street to south. I didn't realize they were turning left on Church Street.
Yeah.
That's an alternative route.
Yeah, it's some kind of old alternative route that qualifies for that grant. And that's the only part of Pearl and the only part of church that did, is why it's in there. So,
Well, I want to say pump the brakes, but I'm just one vote. At least figure out what other alternatives we have and reach out to ODOT.
well, just,
Find out if our money, what that means to that, and what we stand to lose.
I pretty much know how you feel. But I need to know how council as a whole feels.
I'll move to hold off on those two.
By motion?
Yes, I move to hold off on Columbia and Church for the remaining brick section until we can seek, more information on what our alternative to the paving project would be.
Is there a second?
A second it.
Ms. Colby seconds. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion is carried.
Question, what do you think ODOT's likely
Was there
to
a,
is?
I'm sorry, was there a vote there?
Yes.
Was there a voice vote?
Yes.
Was there any nays?
No.
I don't know what to vote what. So was it 6-0?
All in favor.
All in
I just
favor.
need to know.
It was all in favor.
It was 6-0?
Yes.
Okay. And what is the act, what is it? Tell us to not pave those streets?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Just need to know. I'm not against it. I'm just need to know. We just gotta change what we're doing.
I'd say temporarily until you can,
Well, temporarily means this year. I mean, once we cancel the ODOT project, tell them not to pay, they're not gonna put it back in. You know what I mean? So it's not a temporary. Now, we can pump the brakes on what we're paying. We can just take it out of this year's payment, and then we can decide what to do in the next year. We've already got a 2025 paving list. There's many streets we had hoped to pave this year, but for one reason or another, it's not ready. Either we need storm sewer work, we need gutter work, whatever. So we already have a 25 list, and anytime something comes up like this, we move it to the next year. We don't forget it.
Okay, then that's what we do, that's what we decided here, and that was the unanimous vote, so
Okay.
we want, ODOT charges us Armadillo exit, is it non-refundable through ODOT, do we?
Well, it was through OVRDC, and ODOT manages it. So now we're going back and giving OVRDC money back that we've had on their books for 2 years for a grant.
I'm sure they'll find another way to spend it.
Yeah, it just doesn't make us look good for us asking the next time around.
But the majority of that is Pearl Street, right? And we're going to do all of Pearl between Church and...
Bridge.
And where?
Bridge.
All the way from Bridge to Church. we'll still do that, because it's already all paved, right? Plural from bridge to church is already all paved, right?
That's all what ODOT was going to do.
But it's already got paving on the brick. So we are going to pave all Pearl Street, right? Correct. Yeah. Huh? Yeah, I'm just trying to clarify here.
It's bad.
Yeah. Okay. So that part, hopefully we'll be able to save the ODOT.
Mr. Bob?
Who takes care of South Street then? What's the deal will be there with regards to paving that mess over there right now?
That's all of us. That's all our project.
It's not the state?
That's not ODOT. No, that's all our project.
When does that fit into the?
Next year.
They're hoping to start paving the line cuts soon.
Yes.
They're meeting, I think, tomorrow to discuss about.
Yeah, the contract, yes. The trench and all the laterals will be paved, actually meeting with the McKee, I think, that it too.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, so they'll do that. We've got all the curbs that need to be replaced before we go ahead and put in the final pavement.
Other questions? Any other new business to be brought before council?
Yeah. Would like to call an executive session to conference with our attorney concerning disputes involving public body that are subject to pending or imminent court action. Everybody at the table is invited to stay. I would ask that the gallery be excused.
Is there a second?
Yeah. Second.
Ms. Colby, second.
Foster.
Yes.
Colby.
Yes.
Pierce.
Yes.
Newkirk.
Yes.
Crabtree.
Yes.
Bob.
We will adjourn into executive session. It's at 7:38. I'm sorry. 8:38. back in session. It is 8:43. Hearing nothing else pending, or entertain a motion to adjourn. Mr. Pete, Mr. Bob, second by Mr. Peters. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. We stand in adjournment.